You have selected shuffle.
Welcome to the Shuffle Pod. I'm Woody.
Hey, I'm George.
I'm DJ.
And I'm Jeff.
Boys, this was a really good topic, and we busted it into possibly two parts, depending on how long this part
Depending
goes.
on how the edit goes, we'll decide.
And we stopped on Jeff, on his, and I kind of want to build on part of it. We've been focusing on jobs, all right, and then we kind of did touch on the middle class. And I think that going back, I had a week to think about this since the last show. And no, I do believe that there's a lot of talk of the middle class being eroded and everything else, and where it's either the have or the have-nots.
So where are you getting at with this, George? Are you looking for like reform, or are you looking for rebellion?
Well, no, let's kind of. I'll just tell you what. I'll tell you what is now kind of spiked me into. You gotta, God damn it! All right, is you guys know that when I really respect the Second Amendment, and I carry every day. I carry, when I'm in my house.
Here we go.
Okay. No. Hold on. Now this is you guys are gonna be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. On a lot of the podcasts that I listen to and a lot of the YouTube stuff that I watch and whatnot, people are constantly going, well, the government's doing this. It's time to rise up. Okay. And I finally got to the point where I was like, you guys aren't going to do that.
No,
nobody's going to. Right. So shut the fuck up.
Thank you.
So this was when I asked you guys when's enough. I got to the point where I was like, okay, I've had it, because you have these mouth breathers that are basically saying we're going to rise up. Okay, it's not going to happen at this point. Okay, now my thing is you can still respect the Second Amendment. You can still respect personal protection and the protection of your family and your friends and whatnot, and to basically build yourself up to a point where if you lose your job, okay, you would still have food in the house, or you save up some money due to this other stuff, and maybe people are always talking about, well, the banks are collapsing and stuff. Okay, listen, I finally reached my wit's end when it came to we got to rise up, we got to do something. Joe Biden is taking our guns and we got to do this.
Well, that trope again, huh?
January 6th, when people allegedly
rose up.
Well, it depends which side of the coin you're on.
There's only one side.
There's the insurrection and all this other stuff that people are talking about. A bunch of people stormed the Capitol, and I'm going to use air quotes.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
There's enough video that shows
there is two sides to that.
No, there's not.
There's
not. Where did it stop?
Where did it stop? Well, it stopped when they domed that one female. They domed her, and she was dead as a doornail, and they showed her on every news outlet.
No, it stopped whenever they broke through security during a congressional session.
Well, and here's the
you can't just
the
walk in. The public can't just walk in on elected officials during a session because it's extremely dangerous.
No, it is. And I just got to the point where I'm just tired of people talking shit just to make to prop themselves up. Take personal responsibility, and if you don't like it, leave. If that's kind of where I'm at right now on this. And I'm just sick. When I sent you guys the text is when I hit my point, I was like, this is fucking unbelievable. How much of my time am I wasting
watching all these YouTube things because I watch for me the stuff I like to follow on YouTube is training tactics
Survivalist
and this and
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Well, and even some of that, like prepping for a rainy day. Okay. I do not believe that people in my neighborhood are going to rise up and storm my house and take my house because they lost theirs because they lost their job.
Can you pause for
okay?
1 second, George? Like
Sure.
when you said that, I actually flipped to your side temporarily at the beginning of the pandemic when you just said, I don't think people in my neighborhood are going to storm my house. I went and I borrowed a firearm from a friend because during the toilet paper and food shortage there, I was like, fuck, man, if this keeps going, it might get there, but it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Well, no, and I'll give you my response to that. First off, I applaud you. Okay, that's good. But at that
a low
point,
time.
you proved to yourself when you took a step back and you looked at a situation that I have to make a step to better prepare myself, and you acquired a firearm. Okay.
Right.
Hindsight says, if you would have taken the necessary steps at that point, up to that point, you would have been better prepared. Then you wouldn't have had to borrow a firearm.
Right, but
and I'm not.
But
knocking
it wasn't
because-
very long when I realized more like what you're saying right now is I didn't really need one. No one was bashing
you're
my
right.
door down. I was fine.
Right.
And I think that's I could blame the media. Okay, look, I can blame the media for this upheaval and making us feel bad, okay, and feel insecure. They are. But the other side of it is a lot of the idiots that I follow and listen to are doing the exact same fucking thing.
Yes.
Fear
Social
And
media.
It's to the point where no matter which type of media you're consuming, whether it's social media or it's
Podcasts.
traditional media, it's the fucking same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all for views.
Right.
It has nothing to do with getting your
And when
honest
does-
opinion across.
Right.
When
It's-
does enough just be like, dude, shut up, just be happy.
Right.
You know?
So where are you going to find the truth? You're going to find the truth on shows that nobody listens to,
Right.
like the Shuffle Pod.
Right.
That's
We're not
true.
going for views.
Right.
Obviously.
We're not getting them.
Obviously.
And
We
we'll
are
tell you our
highly
opinion.
successful at that.
Right. We'll tell you our opinion, but we're not forcing it down anybody's throat. Look, we all have different opinions on different things. Some of us are closer on different
absolutely.
areas, but just like you, George, like you're a gun nut. I'm not a gun nut, but I'm with you on the Second Amendment. It should be there. It should. But there's other parts of everything else that, like you said, when's enough? I don't know. Like who's going to stop the madness?
I'm okay with
Seriously.
the Second Amendment. Everyone acts like I'm against it.
I know you're
I
not.
just think, having it in my home is it creates more of a danger than I'm preventing.
Right.
That's exactly where I'm at right now. I have no problem with George owning firearms. I have no problem with that at all. I think that the situation in my house, there's more of a chance of somebody getting hurt with a firearm being in my house than it is for protecting my house against someone coming in and hurting
Now,
us.
if you lived in a total shit neighborhood,
Yeah.
Or
it might be different.
if I was in a different situation, if I was, if my child was older, or
No,
or
I disagree.
why?
I think in my situation, I don't.
Well, no, okay, and that's okay. I took my daughter, okay, and I looked at her makeup, okay, as a person, as a growing,
You didn't look
well,
through
now
her makeup
teenager,
drawer.
okay, but I looked and I went, okay, yes, she's a little young to start shooting a gun, but I think she's mature enough to start shooting a gun. And I taught her, before I took her shooting, I taught her, this is a firearm, this is what you do, this, don't touch it unless you know how to use it, or it could kill you, okay?
Right.
And now I'm to the point in my house that I can leave a firearm secured on my nightstand because it's school's off and she stays home alone. She knows how to use that firearm if she needs it.
Gun terminology here. What you just said, and there probably is a meaning to it, but I don't understand what you just said. I can leave a gun secured on my nightstand. What does that mean? What do you mean secured? It's not secured.
Trigger lock.
No.
No, I don't even use a trigger lock. I have a holster.
Then it's not secured. It's just on your nightstand.
No.
So it's not secured.
It is for my family. It is.
It's not,
It's
though.
different.
It's sitting there.
It is.
I get what he's saying. She's been trained enough that he doesn't have to worry about. But if
Correct.
somebody comes into your house that's not trained, like one of your daughter's friends or somebody else, then it's not secured.
No. If somebody else comes in, like if I know family's coming over, I then secure the weapons in a safe.
Right.
That is
Okay.
securing it, though.
Right.
That's
Yes,
what I
it
meant.
absolutely
When
is.
you just said it's secured on the nightstand, that's not secured. Secured is locking it away or locking it so it can't be used, right? I didn't know if there was like a term I was missing. That's what I was asking.
No. You're
Like
fine.
safety
I mean,
was on. Or,
Yeah.
No.
or something like that.
Okay, look. I feel confident enough, and this honestly, this could be. I know I feel differently about this than what you guys do, okay? But I have firearms staged throughout the house, okay? And they're completely loaded and ready,
Oh my god.
and everybody in the house
One of his
knows
dogs
this.
is going to jump on one of these things.
Are
and
you
shoot
coming
him.
around now by like the beginning of your statement here? Are you coming around to realizing that you probably don't need that?
No.
But you
Then
just
when's
said
enough enough?
you just said
Right.
nobody's storming your house.
That's for my personal protection, okay?
But you just said
Now,
no one's storming your house.
Here's the thing. I'm not planning on overthrowing the government, and neither are the other idiots that I've listened to on the
No,
on air.
they're
on-
just
on
trying
the
to hype
radio
you
and
up
stuff.
to buy their stuff.
They are not going to overthrow the government or the boogaloo's not coming.
Right.
That's the portion that I'm like,
Yeah. The Alex
guys need to
Joneses of
shut
the
the
world
fuck up.
are only wanting to get you to buy their prepping meal plans and their vitamins.
Right.
and
I mean,
look,
they're not actually going to overthrow anything.
my personal opinion is you should take personal responsibility for protection, for your survivability, and for your sustainability in the event that a natural disaster does happen, okay?
Right.
But I do not believe, and this is the part that I'm like, I don't believe this anymore.
Are you going to shoot an earthquake? Natural disaster? What? A tornado? You're going to stand there and
I want to
unload
make
a clip?
can.
listen. I want to make sure if something happens to the water in North Canton,
Shoot it.
Somebody tainted the water
Fucking shoot it.
back around 9/11. Okay, somebody tainted the water. All right,
So George
you had they were on a. I'm ignoring
Safe
you guys.
now.
go ahead.
All right, I'm ignoring you. I'm just going to keep
Good
going
move.
on my thing.
I'm listening, George. Go.
The thing is in North Canton, somebody had tainted the water.
remember
and they
when that
were on
happened.
A boil. You had to boil your water before you could use it. Okay?
See, I've never heard about it, water being tainted, but I know DJ dicked somebody.
And he didn't boil it.
So my thing is now is to be able to sustain long enough that I don't have to boil my water the first day that it happens. That's
Okay.
That's my philosophy on it right now.
right.
Okay. The thing of everything else I still adhere by, but the overthrowing of the government. All right. That's the part that I'm like, shut up.
But at
You're
the
not gonna do
beginning,
that.
of this, you said no one's breaking into my house to take me over or whatever you said there. So why do you have the guns staged around your house then?
That doesn't mean that somebody's not going to break into his house. That just like
a
he's
home invasion.
right.
Yes,
But that's what he said.
This is the
That's
thing.
what he said.
But no.
No.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I do not believe that a mass of people are going to come and just overtake my house
All right.
because I have
Right.
something. Okay,
Right.
I'm not. It's not going to be an insurrection on my house. Now, mine is still for personal protection of. If there is a home invasion,
Right.
if somebody's taking, to break into my house, that's the difference.
No, I know.
Do we know any stats on when the last time that happened to anybody in any of our neighborhoods?
My brother got robbed in our backyard at gunpoint
When?
when I was out of high school.
Yeah, I was.
Not in North.
My brother was
not
working
in
at the
North
radio
Canton, though.
station. Don't you remember
South
when
Akron.
they killed the pizza guy? Remember that?
football
They
player?
killed the pizza guy
Okay,
in North
but
Canton.
but what I'm saying is in neither one of those situations, I'm not saying your brother was to blame for being in his
He
backyard, but it wasn't somebody broke into his house You know, like if you were in your backyard, your gun's still inside.
Right. Not
You know?
George. He carries one all the time.
No.
Well, maybe not George.
All right, so
but
to help George here, and you guys are like, well, when was the last time? We had an alert in Parma this week that 2 convicts escaped and were in our area and could be armed. Lock your doors. Like, they're here. Be aware. So, you know, I understand where George is coming from on this.
But
you never
going back
know.
to what Woody said, though, to me, well, I think I started and then Woody said it.
Right.
I feel that risk of a backyard robbery
Right. It's so low.
is so low
No,
that
I agree,
that me
but-
having a gun in the house is actually more dangerous than
right,
that.
that's where my
Right.
point was.
But-
Okay, no, and I respect that. That is completely
Right.
But then I had family or people that I know contact me when there was the toilet paper shortage and said, "Hey, can I, like you, DJ? I feel unsafe. Can you help me out?" Absolutely, I can help you out.
Right.
And why did they come and ask me at that point? Because
you're a crazy
they
prepper.
knew that I took steps
Right.
to for myself.
Now
to
it's
protect
George's
my
time
family.
to shine. That's what he said. to us.
Well, no, but it really kind of was in a way.
No,
because I
but
was
yes.
able.
was.
I was a hero. Okay,
A little bit.
No, but I was.
kind of want to go back there.
I had taken and held back and collected enough stuff that I could hopefully take care of myself, my family, and outside of my house, so that I could help friends and family if they needed it for that specific part. There's a difference between taking your personal protection seriously and taking to protect what's yours is yours, okay? And to collect and not hoard, but stockpile stuff so that if in the event that if I lose my job or whatever, that I can still hopefully have enough to sustain for 6 months or whatever,
Right.
okay? Until I get back on my feet. Not everything that I try to collect for means the end of the world, okay? Because I do not believe it's the end. People have been talking about the end of the world since they saw Red Dawn, okay? The first time in the 80s. My thing now is I've changed the way that I think, and this is what I'm trying to convey. When's enough? Is I've changed my way of thinking of taking, and because here's the thing: if the government decides to take over, like completely be a dictatorship and take over, you're done anyways. Okay, all right. And to me, listening to this verbiage over and over and over again, I finally reached my wit's end and went, so fucking stupid, you know? But then there's no harm in taking and building for your own family and for your loved
There
ones,
can
which
be
can
there
extend
can be
outside.
harm though. That's the thing. If you hear the I mean,
No,
you
you're-
worked with an individual that happened to. What I'm going to say 3 to 5 years ago, that he left a firearm in the house and his son shot it through the wall and killed him.
No, his son was actually cleaning his own firearm.
Oh, okay. Whatever it was,
His own hunting
whatever it
rifle.
was,
Yes.
it was having
Sure.
a gun in the house, and it was an accidental discharge, and somebody died. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, there's more of a risk of that happening than someone's going to break into my house. To me.
No, and that's your
And if I lived in
Personal.
Detroit, I might feel differently. The risk is probably less.
Well, the odds are a lot higher in
Yeah.
in an area like that.
Yeah.
You know, in an area that we live in, the odds are they completely swing.
and
the other
and
way.
honest to
Venice-
God, your brother lives closer to me than you, but where your brother's at, there is some areas right around there that aren't as good than where you're at right now.
Right.
Sure. And let me ask you this. Do people that like to rob people, do they rob poor people?
No,
Or do they rob people in a middle class area
yes,
that they
you
know
dr-
that they
you
may
make a
have
little
access
bit of a drive, and it depends on the person.
depends on the
actually.
situation.
If it's a
The-
drug addict, they go for the nearest target, which is in the bad neighborhoods.
I think that's in general the whole thing. Like, I don't think very many breaking and entering things are planned. These elaborate, planned out events. I think it's all opportunity. You know, it's
I see that guy's out.
I need
home.
Yeah. He's not home. I'm breaking into that house.
Let me ask you this, all right? And this is. There are how many hotels within a 2-mile radius of my house right now?
A lot
of transient workers.
A lot.
And for pipeliners or whatever you want to say, okay? Right. There are a lot of homeless drug addicts that are being put up in those places.
There are?
So yes, it can.
No,
yes,
there's not.
Because yes, there are. Because there are the community, the like
George would know this working at the jail.
For us,
you're talking about the
white, our county,
the white oxycodone addicts, not actual drug addicts. Got it.
Okay, look, there's Coleman Services, and there are agencies in Stark County that will pay for a motel for.
See, this is fucked up to me. This is it's completely fucked up because now I'm not saying these people don't deserve help and a nice, a roof over their head, but how many abandoned houses are there in downtown Canton?
No.
And you're putting them up in $150 a night hotels?
Yes,
what the fuck?
Or you're putting them up in the Perry Inn or the Moon Mist or wherever, but there are other agencies where that $150 room may only cost a county entity out of pocket $30 a night.
Still, it's still more expensive than renting a house for them. It's still more expensive than that.
But you're looking at short-term sustainability until that time because they're staying there because it's better than sleeping on the street, or they're staying there until the halfway house. The Phoenix house is a good example.
I got you.
The Phoenix house has 12 houses roughly in an area, okay? And they are full of people that are exiting prison, and they're in the reentry program.
Oh, see,
or they're sex offenders or they're drug addicts, and they're staying in these places.
Yeah,
okay?
I have no problem with that. I apologize for my previous
And not only that.
No, you're fine.
DJ, like, imagine this. Say there's a house next door to yours that's foreclosed on and it's empty right now. How happy would you be if the county was paying to let people stay?
I'd have no say over it. It's not my house. Might not be happy.
You wouldn't be happy about it, and your votes would definitely.
But George lives in a better area than I do, and within 2 miles of his house, they're putting them people up in hotels right by George's house. So who cares?
That is why I take personal protection seriously.
I know why George takes personal protection seriously.
Why?
He owns pit bulls. He owns pit bulls, and they could any second their nature could come back.
Yeah.
They're venom.
Yeah, and he knows I better have one within reach at all times for my entire family because these dogs, straight for the throat when they attack, and they latch on.
That's it.
Their jaws
they
lock.
They could maul my child's face.
Yeah, the jaws lock, and the venom comes out, and you're toast. So you better have silver bullets in those guns.
So George,
that's it.
Can I ask you, when you reach
silver bullets? Fucking werewolf.
Damn it.
I'm kidding.
Sorry, people. I got a pop-up that's going to record. I apologize for that.
A what?
Anyway, my Bit Defender pop-up. Like, oh, you've got it. I hate that.
I got a Malwarebytes thing.
It's going to be on the recording. It's all right. I'll clear it. George,
go ahead, Jeff.
When you reached your, enough is enough. What's
your
epiphany? Like, where are we going from there? What's your next step? Or what are you going to change? How is this going to change your life? Are you?
Well, no, I guess it's not going to really change my life because I know that the reality of it is it's probably not happening.
Right.
Okay. I just got sick and tired of being fed the same line of shit over and over there's people in the prepping community, unfortunately, fall under. I'm prepping because the government's going to take over.
Right.
That's not your biggest threat at that point. Okay.
No, definitely not.
And that's where I kind of was like, I'm done. I can't fucking listen to this. There's like there's semi-mainstream podcasts that I'll listen to, because I listen to podcasts constantly, all right?
Right.
And I can't put them on at night to listen to before I go to bed or while I'm trying to sleep, because I get all riled up, because I'm like, that's not going to happen.
I need more canned goods.
So George's epiphany was basically just this. It's, God damn it, I'm not prepping because the government's going to take me over.
Right.
I'm prepping
Right.
because of an earthquake or a tornado. But I'm still doing everything the same. I'm just, that reason is stupid.
Well, I just got to the point where I was like, that's honestly,
I know it is. That's what you're explaining.
I can't disagree with that. But, yes, am I doing the exact same thing?
Poor Jamie,
Absolutely.
she was so close. She was like, yes, no.
But you know what? Honestly, I started, not prepping, but being a little more prepared because of listening to you three on old episodes. And I'm like, yeah, I really should have like a couple of gallons of clean water on standby.
Oh, yeah.
Or some canned goods. I'm like,
I
why
don't,
I have
but I
this?
should. I should.
And I got to the point where I'm like, I should probably do some of this.
Mm-hmm.
If Sissy Hagshaw in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with her thumb, right, could lasso a tornado, I think I could probably shoot one with buckshot and make it change its trajectory.
That's kind of my point. Was like, I honestly, I think George is kind of right here. There is a much better chance of a natural catastrophe happening, natural disaster happening, than the government being overthrown.
Realistically,
and society going
it's
into
a fear
anarchy.
of the grid going down.
Right.
If the power grid goes down, you're fucked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is possible because we already lost the East Coast about 20 years ago. I mean,
Exactly.
God, was that
How
20?
really are we?
Was that 20 years
Are
ago?
you seriously?
it was,
Yeah, it was 20
That
years
was like
ago.
the other day.
It was at least 15 because I still live in Cleveland.
I
but
think you're right.
it was closer to 20 because it was like 2001 or 2002. Yeah.
What happens, Woody, when you can't flush your toilet?
Yeah.
Pee outside.
What are you going to do?
I don't think
03.
I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. I think that if, let's say, all the computers were wiped, okay, completely wiped out, I think that we would be able to sustain until we got things back on track.
How though? Yeah, I mean,
I think communities would come together.
No, they wouldn't.
So you're going to rely on...
I absolutely
You're
do.
going to rely on FEMA and the Red Cross to help you, okay? They're going to give you the bare minimum to survive. So what harm does it... If I would take...
None. I'm agreeing with
What harm
you.
is it for me to buy 2 or 3 extra cans of whatever and stockpile it every time I go to the grocery store?
No, I think it's a smart idea.
Okay,
I
to
do.
a point.
But
the actual grid going down. Look, I'm not digging a safe room yet in the backyard.
Another one.
That was a key word thrown into that sentence.
Second one.
But see, the thing is, I personally believe that the power grid and everything could go down, and it has gone down.
Right.
And that's where you take. And when something like that happens, how long does it take for somebody to go, I know this guy does hold more food in his house.
Right.
Well, how do I protect that at that point? My protection, my self-protection, and my protection of my family is now geared towards, mentally now, not the end of the world, okay? It's from people going, when times get tough, coming to the door, first knocking and saying, can I have a pound of flour, okay? Because I need to do this. Well, sure, here you go. Well, now they know I have extra, and then they're going to come. And that's the thing. That's the small little bit, my little niche that I've carved out, that I've worked hard as a family. That's the thing that you need to protect.
Okay.
And it's not, what if somebody breaks into my house? Because you know what? If somebody does break into the house, I hopefully have the means to protect that, or the rest of my family does, okay? And that's Nobody expected the power grid to go down, but it happened, and I'm glad I'm glad we kind of got on this little part of it because it has happened. My brother did get robbed. The power grid did go down. So there are,
and there's,
though it may be slim, stuff can happen.
have we done a show on like how things will collapse or different ways things will? Have we done that?
Yes.
Well, we haven't said
Just like,
and took like, all right, what we should do for a show is we'll have a hat, okay, with ideas written down of how it could go. And you pull the paper and it says grid down, whatever,
I like that. I like that a lot, but I was thinking like, what would cause the grid to go down? Is it going to be a solar flare? Is it going to be terrorism? Is it going to be
it's an EMP?
Yeah. So, yeah, an EMP.
Right.
Is it going to be a nuclear plant?
I'd like to back
disaster?
George up a little bit on this, not for the new thing, but just for what he was saying about how if something happened would go down. Because you guys remember the tornadoes in 2000 and I think 9 or 10. I don't remember when it was. Went through Mississippi, Alabama,
Yes.
Kentucky, everything. Yeah, I was in the middle of half of those. Like they went around my house.
It's because you had a gun. It didn't.
It's true. It wouldn't come to me.
Because you
Shooting
stood
at
out
it.
and you yelled at it
Right.
with a rifle and you said, "You shall not
right.
pass." It slammed.
It was just like,
But we had
just like Gandalf.
We had 2 F4s that missed where I lived by a mile in either direction. Okay? It shut down all of basically North Alabama, northern part of Alabama, into Kentucky for anywhere from 3 days to a week. My wife and I took the kid and left because she had some stuff to do here in Ohio, so we came back up here for the week. But my brother-in-law, who was living with us at the time, stayed down there. And to make sure nothing happened, he had everybody that he knew that wasn't like busy at their own houses stay at our house to make sure, basically us and the neighbors, because we had some elderly neighbors on one side and whatever, make sure we were safe. Because
but what's that?
like George said, what's it going to do? Well, make sure there's somebody there to protect the food, because there was no food. There was
Yeah, but
very
if a
little.
tornado hits the house,
No, it's the aftermath.
the aftermath. Okay,
Right.
okay.
Like
Yeah.
We
You're
had-
not fighting the natural disaster. You just need to
the
prepare.
prepare for the aftermath, because the gas station
aftermath.
down the street that was like 2 or 3 miles away that got hit by the tornado,
Yeah.
the worker was trapped inside. People came by and saw that it was demolished. Instead
And
of
started
helping
stealing.
Instead of
Yeah.
helping her, hearing her calling out, they stole cartons of cigarettes and cases of alcohol to sell
Welcome to
later.
the South.
Yeah, but that's
Well, that's
But
what
it
you get
happens
for
everywhere.
taxing
I'm just
cigarettes
kidding.
so
I'm
goddamn
just
much.
kidding.
Look
But
at
that's-
what happened in Texas when they just had the blizzard
Right.
in Texas.
Yeah.
Texas hasn't had blizzard in 25
Ted
years.
Cruz jumped right on a plane and went to Mexico.
fuck out of there.
Well, he did, but it went and it shut down their complete
Everything.
grid.
Right.
Went completely down because Texas had an independent grid because our grid in America was not good enough. Well, they went on a turbine grid, and the turbines fucking froze.
That's actually not
so
true.
They
The
lost
turbines were running.
everything.
Everything else broke down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they lost everything. how it happened, they lost their grid. It went down, and people were starting to break into grocery stores, break into and they just
Were they really?
Yes. People were fucking animals.
But he
work
doesn't
in-
watch the news because he's at
My-
work too much.
My office is in Texas.
Yeah.
Like the company I worked for,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was bad. People didn't leave their houses because, one, they'd freeze to death. Two,
Well, and the reality of it is I heard this stat and I was like, yeah, really? The average American household has between 3 and 7 days worth of food
right.
in their house. Okay, if the refrigerator goes down, they have between 3 and 7 days worth of food that is sustainable in can or dry form. Okay, what happens when that 7 days run
Right.
out?
And then you start to get into one of our shows, like, what are we going to do? You start taking the box cutter to the neighbors.
Right.
Yes,
you know.
exactly. You start hacking them up.
Okay, when that happened in Texas, how cold did it get? Because I
was
saw
below freezing.
videos of aquariums being frozen And I don't know if that was true or if it was just
Probably
some.
not.
No, I think
How
part of it
big
was
of pussies are these Texans, Murph?
no, their whole power grid went down.
Right.
Okay.
They don't
They
have,
couldn't heat
they don't
their
have
houses.
furnaces.
Right.
Correct.
And
Okay,
that-
I get all that. How big of pussies are these Texans? It's always that cold here.
Even in the summer.
No, but I mean, like in the winter, we go outside and play in it. Like they were freezing to death. Don't they own any blankets in their house that they can cuddle up in?
Not
Don't they?
a lot. I mean, honestly,
People in South Carolina. Let's
But they
hypothetically
have
say
air
instead
conditioning
of
in their
Texas.
homes and they get cold.
right.
But what happens when that goes down and you can't heat your house and your pipes burst?
Well, you let your water trickle so it doesn't burst.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Are they morons?
But those are little things that we know. No, it's when has Florida been ready for a snowstorm? Okay.
Did they not graduate high school? Do they not know water expands?
But this is the thing, is if you live in an area that traditionally, that 99% of the time is above freezing, okay? Even if it gets cold at night, 45 degrees, it's still over the freezing level.
Right.
If it goes down to 28 degrees and everything freezes, or it shuts down their entire power grid, their pipes aren't insulated just by default because their coating is different
Okay.
than
Well, in
people
my
up
mind,
north.
even if I live in California, in Southern California or Miami, I know that water expands. You better open up one of the pipes. So you
Right.
open up a faucet.
But your pipes in Florida are not insulated.
But if you open it
against
up
freezing.
and it freezes,
Say, until I bought my house, mine weren't insulated either. I insulated half of them just to make sure that they were, but
It's not something that you think
Right.
of, though, DJ. It's not if you're in that. You're
okay.
you hear it's gonna freeze. It's gonna get below freezing. The first thing in your head's not, oh boy, I need to open up some. Because you've never been in a situation, or you learn from your mistakes. You've never had that mistake to make before.
But these people, this
You know?
Texas thing was like almost a state, not the whole statewide, but it was a pretty big
Most of it.
catastrophe.
It was,
Like,
yes. And because they had a
Jesus.
storm that deviated from its normal route and went into Texas and covered them with, I don't know how many inches of snow, but it was a considerable amount.
Right.
They had blizzard conditions and their power lines and everything
Right.
completely.
You know, if
froze.
this happens like next
Thanks,
year,
Obama.
Murph is going to be the king of Texas.
Yeah.
right.
He's because he
Yep.
just moved down there from Ohio. He's going to be like, you fucking pussies.
But that's the thing is, it was an unforeseen event. And there were people that literally died because they didn't have any food and they didn't have any heat. And they didn't have blankets, like you said, DJ. They didn't have it.
Well, why don't you
Why
have
didn't
the
they?
blankets and stuff? You have air
Because they
conditioning. You're
didn't
cold in
prep
your
for it.
house.
But it's different than having just a fleece blanket,
Right.
DJ.
like
There's when you get cold, you put a hoodie and a fleece blanket on, okay? But when ice forms inside your house because your stuff is broke down and it's that fucking cold outside, and you don't have an insulated house like they have up here, that's a problem.
Yeah, honestly, that when we got COVID and we lost power for days, it was like a big storm that came through. We lasted, and we're used to it. We lasted, I would say, a day and a half, and then it got so cold in this house that I was like, "That's it."
And you went
We're
to a
outta here.
hotel.
Well, we went to my aunt's house.
Yeah, remember
Okay.
that.
Because there was nobody there and stuff. So
He went to the other house he owns, Mr.
Yeah.
Middle Class.
his second house.
But see, so
the lake house.
So Woody, let me ask you this realistically. It took you a day and a half to get to the point where you left your residence
Yeah.
and you went somewhere else.
Yeah, just couldn't.
A day and a half.
But we were very sick. We were all, and we were freezing our asses off. But I could definitely see, I mean, it was. I could see where like we're prepared. We have blankets. We have
Right.
more blankets than I can count in
Yeah,
this
me too.
house, and it still got so cold that. And that wasn't even in the hard, like the worst winter condition. That was.
But did that
Just
change?
November.
But did that then change because of that incident? Did it change the way you think about certain things. Did you make other changes in your lifestyle to make sure you take care of that, or did you just go by the status quo and it'll probably never happen again?
Yeah.
There's a real easy fix we can do for this.
What am I going to do about it? Buy more blankets?
No, there's an easy fix for this, and it's really not all that expensive. For the cost of probably $2,000 to $3,000 total.
Oh,
you
generator?
get a generator, you have an electrician put a transfer switch in your house, and yes, you can get a generator that kicks on automatically that runs off natural gas, but what if the gas goes down too?
Right.
You need to be truly prepared, you need a generator you can fill with gas.
Right.
And realistically, how long is it going to take you to save that extra $3,000 to buy a generator? I know it's going to take me a year, you know.
No, I don't think it would if you were really devoted, because you could you've got all the guitars, the firearms, you could sell a couple of them. You could
Don't be stupid. I'm not going to sell my guitars.
but I'm saying, like, everyone has that money if you
you're absolutely right.
need it.
Right.
No, you are. You know, I never thought. It never even crossed my mind that I could sell
But
my guitars to get a generator.
But the whole like almost every scenario we're talking about or will talk about in the upcoming show is we're going to lose power. And all of that can be prevented with a generator. You're going to have your water, because we all have water. Well, I do anyway,
Right.
and Woody does. I don't know if you guys have city water, but
I have city.
Same.
so that would be down for you guys. But like Woody and I would still
Not
have
until
it.
the tank's empty. Like, we've got water for...
Yeah, but
that's
if
a whole
it-
different show, but yeah, go
yeah,
on.
but if it did go down, everyone would be filling up everything they had, and it would go empty a lot quicker than normal.
Correct.
I thought so too. When we lost the power, I was like, well, we'll have water for a while because I've got that big tank.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't last
everything,
that
and-
long. Yeah,
No,
but if you had
not
a
at
generator, you're not missing a beat.
Right, I'd
And,
still be
and the
pumping
key
out
to
of the
this
well.
is getting a generator big enough. You'd have to talk to an electrician. He'd have to look at your house and determine, because my whole goal with the generator that I want to eventually get is I don't want to have to like plug my refrigerator into a different plug and do all this stuff. I want the transfer switch to take my entire I say take my entire load. but really, I want to take the entire
All over
all
its
over it. I wanted to take the entire house load and switch it to the generator. I want the generator big enough where I can do this. I can jump on and do the podcast
Right.
and not worry about a thing because I have plenty of power. That's what I want. And those generators are a little more. They're not the Harbor Freight specials.
Yeah.
No,
No, you got me
They're
thinking now,
$3-4
DJ.
grand.
Maybe I do sell a few of my guitars so I can buy a good generator.
Yeah, and honestly, man, the transfer switches and stuff are a lot too.
Right.
You know, for your electricity.
Yeah.
It's not just you fire up the generator, because a good electrician.
Now, are you looking at gas-powered generator?
gas? Yeah,
Or are you looking at electric-powered generator?
electric that turns into gas.
So would it be like gasoline-powered?
Gasoline.
How
or
much
diesel.
gasoline? How much gasoline would you? How much would you keep on hand?
Well, if I got a generator, I would always have, I don't know, probably 20 to 30 gallons always. I'd buy a few of the 5-gallon ones and keep them.
Okay, but here's the thing: if you do that, then, say you know that happens, the gas stations are going to be out of power.
No, but I'm
too.
going to have, I'm not talking about it's this generator isn't going to sustain me for 60 days. But
Right.
around here in Ohio, when there's a storm, you lost power for how many days, Woody?
4 days.
You'd easily,
That was a rare,
very
occasion,
rare,
though.
but you would have gotten through that with no problem with the generator.
But it
no
happened.
problem. And it did happen.
Right.
But that is actually every 10 years or so, you lose power for 2 to 3 days from a storm here.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
what the generator would be for. I'm not saying I'm going to get through the super volcano of Yellowstone, but I'd get through a really bad thunderstorm that knocked my neighborhood out for 3 days.
Right.
Dude, this is a fantastic place to stop.
Yeah.
And I think what we ought to do is, this brings up another show. We ought to think of a
favorite
couple
kind.
ideas, throw them in.
I really like that super volcano Yellowstone.
We touched on it once, but we could do that again.
Yep.
We didn't
Should
get
we bring
super
Justin
in-depth.
back for that?
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't think I was on it, and I don't think Woody was on it. Right? Was it just Justin, George, and
I
Jeff?
don't remember.
I think it was.
I don't know.
I
don't remember.
I thought Woody was with us. I'd have to look back, but yeah.
I don't remember that one at all.
All right, guys. Everybody, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Shuffle Pod. If you have any ideas on natural disasters or anything that may shut you down or show ideas anytime, any kind, hit us up.
And please do not shoot at tornadoes or
Unless it's
Or
right
water.
in your sights.
A good thing, a nice 12
If it's
gauge,
coming at your house,
a good
I mean,
12
what are you
gauge
gonna do?
slug has been proven to change the trajectory of an earthquake.
I've-
if you shoot
I've
it at
heard
the
that,
ground.
yeah.
earthquake.
Yeah, just don't shoot your foot.
Shoot your
All
eye
right,
out.
boys. Peace.
See ya.